Right now, though, I want to tell you about something really quite unique. The COVID-19 pandemic has seen more and more people reliant on charities for basic necessities like food. We're no exception here on the coast, and one local Thai restaurant is doing what it can to help. Instead of payments for food, it's accepting a new cryptocurrency which has been developed by an Australian charity. And restaurant owner Tanju Kadir, good morning. Can you talk us through this partnership and how you became involved?
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Good morning to you and everybody, all the listeners. I became involved probably about 3 years ago when I first heard about the concept. And it was the first time that I really realised that there is a way that is available for people to be charitable and at the same time avoid having to pay hefty fees for transactions of funds. MYBUI Foundation's cryptocurrency allows you to transfer from anywhere throughout the world to any charity that you want, and there's minimal fees. I don't know how much, but it's not like a bank fee of $22 when you're trying to send money across. You don't always have a lot. So when you try and send $5, you can't because most organisations don't allow you to transfer that sort of small currency anywhere. The MYBUI Foundation has the ability to allow people all over the world to draw from the MYBUI Foundation. So at the moment, from what I'm aware, there are places throughout the world that people can just draw 50 cents US a day. That might sound not a lot of money to us, but a lot of countries throughout the world that's been staying alive or not.
That's right. So how does this actually work from our end here in Australia? Do people need to have a smartphone to make a donation?
Yeah, smartphone and an app. It's just basically the same as using if you had a credit card on your phone.
Gotcha. Did your business need to invest much in additional technology to actually facilitate the cryptocurrency?
No, there's no fee whatsoever. We just basically download the app, and when a customer has the app, they can just transfer the coin across, and that's as easy as it gets. It's just as quick as doing a transaction as you would from a bank app on your phone.
So why was this something that you really wanted to get on board with, Tanju?
Well, I got excited about it because, as I said, it's a way of transferring small amounts without having to pay the fees associated with it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a wonderful idea, as you said. Just small amounts can make such a difference for people living in developing countries. And if we don't have to have any fees extracted from our donation to this charity, then that makes...
We don't have to worry about administration fees.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of the larger charitable organisations have major overheads, and those overheads are paid for by the contributions that everybody makes towards the charity. It doesn't always, we don't exactly know how much goes to where you want it to go.
Well, Tanju, I hope you get lots and lots of customers making their donations. Thank you so much for telling us about why you got involved this morning. Appreciate your time.
No problems. Thank you very much. You have a fantastic day.
Thank you, you too. And the MYBUI Foundation is the charity behind this initiative, and their director is Mark Heggart. Mark, good morning. How did this idea come about?
Hi, Annie. Thank you. Was just with my son one day, and we were going out for a snorkel, and it hit me like, really just do something from the hearts of people, and the fundamental belief that humans are good. Obviously the need for overseas is, we don't know how lucky we do have it. It's often said, and I know we have our own issues at the moment, but the technology now exists for us to be able to help anybody anywhere rapidly and quickly.
It sure does.
And, yes, and so it took 3 years of development, and then we launched on exchanges at the end of March, start of April, and we've seen a rapid uptake. And then we started we finally perfected the airdropping system, and that started at the start of July. And currently we have 1,000 families around the world living on it exchanging for either Bitcoin or their local currency through exchanges, and they're being able to be fed.
How did they track down the possibility to do this? How did they become aware of it?
Yes, well, we've got over 700,000 followers on social media, primarily in other countries. So it's sort of taken off a little bit, to say the least, and it's just word of mouth. And now those numbers are starting to convert into what we call daily active users. And so it's just 50 cents US a day, but that's enough in many of these countries for food, as Tanju mentioned. And so, like I give the example of, Venezuela, where a lot of our users are. I think we've got 32% of our user base from there at the moment.
Gee.
And, politicians and government workers are rewarded sometimes on top of their local currency with toilet paper, because toilet paper is $8.30 US a roll.
Whoa.
Yes.
And that country has been in such political turmoil, hasn't it, now?
Yeah.
For more than a year.
That's right, and with their energy reserves shut off, a litre of petrol is only 8 cents US. So it's all crazy. And, we got a video recently from a family of 5 thanking us because they can actually, at least now their base need of food is met daily, and then they can, worry about one less thing, which is a big thing over there.
What about from their side? I mean, we've got the technology mostly here for people to use a smartphone and make a donation. What about for the people on the other end, like in Venezuela?
Yes, yeah. Well, Venezuela and certainly Africa. So a smartphone, can be bought for between $6 and $8 US.
Okay.
It's a different supply chain, different models. They're not paying, Australian retail prices, and Australian retailers haven't got. We've got obviously large overheads with rent and other
stuff.
costs.
Yep.
Yep. So. And the second-hand market, a lot of our phones go to these areas that we think are no good. They get refurbished. So, there's definitely a smartphone explosion. It's estimated that another 60 million users over the next year will pick up a smartphone in Africa.
Gosh, that's mind-boggling. Do you anticipate then that this is the way forward for charities to be using cryptocurrency?
Absolutely. I did have a little bit of a slight comment to our other directors at MYBUI that, really what we are is a charity 2.0, and without, the marketing slogans. But what we've really cracked the code is to be able to allow funds and these digital tokens to, have a worth and can be traded and directly to them. And we can, add financial inclusion to the unbankable, previously been unbankable.
Yes.
These people can't make the minimum commitments to open a bank account, and many struggle to even get any cash in certain areas. It's a really subsistence hand to mouth by any means sort of living.
Yeah.
So it's just not about having enough food, but the dignity of life, are able to, when some means are met, basic human needs are met, then little entrepreneurial programs for women can start. They're not struggling, and even at the core level, in absolute hopelessness, the children aren't in poverty, and a huge reduction in crime will happen, especially with child trafficking and women having to sell their children in desperate needs. And, it really is a possibility that we can help to end some of these amazing problems that the world faces.
Mark Heggart, really appreciate you telling us about this fantastic platform that you've developed. Well done, and thanks so much for joining us. Good on you.
Okay, thank you.
Mark Heggart is the director of MYBUI, which is a cryptocurrency platform which enables you to give so that others on the other side of the world who are impoverished can have access to that cryptocurrency, and there's no fees. The best thing of all, as far as I'm concerned, is that it just completely cuts out any organisations or, that money being filtered off, which is often the way, isn't it? When you give to charities, not all of it can go because they've got their own administration costs. There's none of that. And one local restaurant owner here, Tanju Kadir, using it at his Thai restaurant. Mark Heggart, the developer. Great stuff.